You're listening to the Monday Night Community Show with Daniel on BRFM.
With Talking Tech, I'm Lara Snell. Scientists may have discovered a way to read our dreams. Following a study in Japan, it's been claimed. Simon Cliff has the details.
Volunteers' brains were monitored with MRI scans as they slept, with them being woken around 200 times each and asked to describe the images they were seeing. Their answers were grouped into categories such as words or books and compared with the scan results. The Japanese scientists claim following the research they can now use MRI to predict what a person's dreaming with up to 60% accuracy. It's thought that while the findings are a little way off revealing the more specific details of our dreams, the research could be invaluable in progressing sleep studies and understanding some sleep disorders.
Facebook is to start charging users to message someone outside of their network. They say the costs of between 70p and £10 will be introduced when people contact people who they aren't friends with the highest cost reserved for when messaging a celebrity. Facebook say they're introducing the charges to reduce the amount of spam being sent across the network. However, some fear it could be the first step towards other charges being introduced across the social media site. And the US Navy is trialling its latest weapon, a laser cannon capable of disabling vessels and shooting down drones. The prototype is being installed on the USS Dewey at a cost of more than $30 million. However, as it's powered by electricity, it will cost a fraction of what other weapons cost to run. Spokespeople for the US Navy have described the new laser cannon as both revolutionary and affordable. With Talking Tech, I'm Lara Snell. With Talking Life, I'm Lara Snell. Benji Bennett's latest book, Adam's Great Inventions, is now in high street shops. The book was inspired by the memory of his 4-year-old son Adam, who tragically died from a brain tumour in 2006. The book is part of the series called Adam's Amazing Adventures. The bedtime stories have received a lot of awards and have raised thousands of pounds for charities. Now, Benji is campaigning for parents to spend at least 10 minutes a day with their children, following research showing that the majority of children aged 6 to 10 wished they could spend more time with their mum and dads. He explained why he started writing these bedtime stories.
What immediately hit me was, what happens if this happened to another parent? So what I wanted to do was to try and say, well look, how can I help parents express how much they love their children and have more fun with them on a daily basis? I didn't know how that was going to manifest itself. I just had this massive crusade that I wanted to shout out to the world and say, grab your kids, give them a massive big hug and tell them you love them and have more fun with them and be giddy and silly and all that stuff.
And he told us why these precious minutes can make the difference.
If you can just get that 10 minutes a day, read a little story at bedtime, and at the end of all of the stories, it's when you're reading them, you're expressing how much you love the children before they go to sleep. So if they can go to sleep knowing that they're loved, they'll have sweet dreams and wake up happy the next morning.
It's been revealed this week that pesticides used across Europe are threatening to leave bees with a very uncertain future. The chemicals that are being used are leaving bees brain damaged, affecting their ability to remember, learn and communicate. A ban on these pesticides has been called for in response to the revelation, as honeybees are an important element of our agriculture. A large proportion of the world's food crops rely on pollination. And the well-being of the UK's children has improved, according to the latest league table published by UNICEF. We're ranked 16th out of 29 developed countries, according to the charity. Last time the table was published, the UK was last. With Talking Life, I'm Lara Snell. With Talking Travel, I'm Lara Snell. Scientists are warning that climate change could make flights across the Atlantic that bit more unpleasant. Simon Cliff has the details.
Research led by Reading University has concluded that should climate change continue as expected, turbulence for transatlantic flights could increase. They say the changes will occur in the North Atlantic corridor as air currents strengthen. Now, planes are already encountering stronger winds, and as we approach the middle of this century, that problem could get worse. It's feared if the currents get too strong, there could be ramifications for both airlines and passengers if they're forced to change routes to avoid the turbulence. Now, this could lead to higher airfares and duty costs as providers' fuel bills increase. There are currently around 600 flights a day through the North Atlantic corridor.
The owners of the cruise ship the Costa Concordia have been fined €1 million following last year's sinking. 32 people died when the ship ran aground off the coast of Tuscany in January. The ship's captain, Francesco Schettino, is currently facing indictments of manslaughter. 5 others are also facing the same charges. And a hotel in Cheshire has come up with a solution for lonely guests. The Happy Guest House is offering up the company of a goldfish called Happy to those renting a room for the bargain price of £5 a night. They say that the fish can offer up unconditional love and a sounding board after a tough day out and about. The owner of the guest house says if Happy proves to be a hit, he may recruit more fish for hire. With Talking Travel, I'm Lara Snell. With Talking Money, I'm Lara Snell. The number of households that are going to be affected by the benefit cap has decreased, according to the Department for Work and Pensions. Simon Cliff has the details.
It was first estimated that the number of households affected by the benefit cap was 56,000, but the government has released figures that show that this has dropped by a third. The cap means that welfare payments will be limited to £500 a week for couples and single parents and £350 a week for people without children. Now this means that the average household will lose an average of £96 a week. The Department for Work and Pensions has found that lots of people on benefits have got jobs after being warned their benefits will be capped at £26,000 a year from April this year. The benefit cap has been put in place to save £275 million a year.
Supermarkets have announced they're cutting the price of diesel due to a recent fall in wholesale prices. Morrisons, Sainsbury's and Asda have all reduced the price of their diesel by up to 2p a litre, starting a fuel price war. Motorists can now expect to pay just under £1.40 for a litre of diesels at the pumps, a drop of 3p when prices peaked back in March. But there is concern that reduced prices may not be available in rural areas. And the UK construction industry remains weak despite signs of a recovery. Figures from the Office for National Statistics found that output in the construction industry rose by 5.5% in February, but this is still 7% lower compared to February last year. Poor performance in the construction industry was blamed for pushing the economy back into the recession. We'll find out later this month whether or not the UK has avoided a triple dip recession. With Talking Money, I'm Lara Snell. With Talking Health, I'm Lara Snell. A new study has revealed that skin cancer may be a greater threat to the nation's health than previously thought. Simon Cliff has the details.
The number of cases of the UK's most common form of the disease may be twice what's recorded by Whitehall figures it suggested. Research carried out by doctors from Norfolk and Norwich University Hospital NHS Foundation Trust and Eastern Cancer Registration Centre in Cambridge shows that basal cell carcinomas may number 200,000 a year. That's nearly the same as all the other common cancers put together. Case numbers have risen by 80% over the last decade. Although the success rate for treating cases is high, it's feared the financial implications could have far-reaching effects on the NHS. It's estimated it could cost the service around £200 million a year.
US experts are calling on a new approach to tackle malaria hotspots in countries with newly low levels of the disease. Countries like Bhutan and Malaysia have seen occurrences of the disease fall, but pockets of high infection still remain. They want to see a different approach to treatment, with treated hammocks and clothing being more widely used. In countries like this, men working outdoors or sleeping on plantations are more likely to be affected by malaria than women. And a kidney manufactured in a lab has been transplanted into animals and started to produce urine, according to scientists. Similar techniques have been used on simpler body parts, but never on an organ as complex as the kidney. The manufactured organ was shown to be less effective than the real thing, but shows huge promise, according to experts. With Talking Health, I'm Lara Snell.